What if Deku was Viggo? Part 5. The heroes discover the dragon trade. So over the year after they had found an exit that led out to Japan from the Cursed Sea, Viggo has built his trading empire of trading all the materials he's gathered from the Cursed Sea that no one else can get. It is mostly sold to the black market, to people that will pay a lot of money for it. It is still very not well known amongst people, as the dragon trade, is what Viggo calls it, is mostly for the underground network. So basically, people that know the underground of kind of like criminals and all that are their biggest customers. But some businesses do buy their materials, such as the Gronkle iron, for construction and metal. Now they refuse to release any ingredients on how to make the Gronkle iron, so they have to buy it from Viggo. And the hierarchy of Viggo's hunters consists of Viggo at the top, Fred, Julie, then Gear, and a few others. And then there are those called the captains, which basically have their own ships. But at the hierarchy of it all, it's Viggo at the top. Now we go to an auction house, as it's been over a year since Viggo has started his trade with Japan and basically a lot of other countries. And around this time, it would be about the time of the UA entrance exams. But we go to an auction. This auction, we see a man in a hood just sitting in the back as they're waiting for stuff to be brought out. A person next to them says, "So why are we here?" "Easy, President Mike. We heard that there's illegal activity at this auction, so we're going to try to capture anything that's out of the ordinary. I've heard there's been a lot of unsightly deals. Rumors about this place. Do we really need the disguise, though, Shota?" "Yes, we can't let anyone know we're heroes." As they take their seats, as an auctioneer comes to the stand. "Welcome everyone here for the auction. Now today, I've got some really valuable items from the dragon trade." As Shota would be surprised to hear that. The dragon trade? Y'all that don't know what the dragon trade is, it is a company that sells really good items that can nowhere be else bought anywhere else in the world but from the company of the dragon trade. Although their leader is still very mysterious, we do have a member of the hunters here today. As he doesn't say who the hunter is, but just says he's here. As the first item on for auction today, as they bring out some scales of a zippleback. These scales are very smooth. It can also be used to, block fire. It would also make for a good purse. We don't know how he acquired these, but these scales should fetch a very high portion and could sell for valuable money. The second item, as they bring out like a mace made of Gronkle iron. A mace in a Viking style, made out of a very high metal that is only produced by the dragon trade. I believe it's called Gronkle iron, as he sends the mace down. And finally, an invitation to meet the head man of the dragon trade himself, as this catches Shoto's attention, as there's just a person just watching from high above with a smile. As Shota goes to give a call, but these items seem reasonable and none of them are illegal, so he can't just go on and say anything to start the raid without any evidence. So they're on standby at the moment. And now shall we start with the auction? As the auction would start, and the Gronkle iron would go up to about $1 million. The mace would be sold for that much, as the scales sold for just under $500,000. And for the invitation, people were bidding like crazy to meet the person, because a lot of people that are trying to buy it are businessmen. Just try to strike a deal with the leader that can grab the materials that he releases to the black market. As people are bidding like crazy trying to get that letter. No. As we cannot have a determinable victor, as they just keep one-upping each other in the audience, we'll save this for the last option for today, where we will start the bid at $2 million. But that will be the last item, as they take the letter away. As the person just frowns a little bit, as they just bring out more items until it would get to a point where they would start selling illegal items, which would cause for the heroes to barge in. And that would be, they would be selling people with strong quirks. As then the heroes would bust in, as then the person in the hood just smiles. As he just looks down at Shota and President Mike as they just start to fight off several of the villains that were in this auction. Because technically you cannot touch a person when they're in a establishment, especially when it's private property owned by the person, without a legitimate reason. As the heroes would start fighting the villains, this mysterious hood figure would just be watching from above. Time to grab that letter. And he would be walking out, as Shota would notice him, as he would jump up and just land on his feet and get up to the balcony area where he was at the auction and just sees him running, as Shota would run after him. That's it, hero. Keep following me. As he would basically slide under a door, basically while it was closing, and just simply turn the corner, as he sees one of his men had gotten the letter. I have it, sir. Well, let's get out of here. As they're going for the window, as Shota kicks in the door. As the man looks back, as he just has a smile, as he just jumps out the window with his men. Oh, they got away. As he would march off back to the auction room where they had arrested a bunch of people. Well, it seems everything's here that the auctioneer said, except one. The letter that would meet the head of the dragon trade. What about it? You've been trying to do research on them for months, but they're very slippery. I could have finally found a way to shut that thing down. They sell it to criminals, crooks. They're making villains more powerful. They don't just sell it to criminals, they sell it to businesses. But there's no legit reason we can arrest them. They're following all business procedures. They haven't done anything illegal. In truth, they've done a lot illegal, they just don't know about it. Because the dragon trade has its ins and outs. Well, Shota, I do believe we did catch the one person that we believe is a part of the dragon trade at this auction. And since we're detaining all of the people that were here, the villains and non-villains that were here at this auction, you can have a chance to interrogate him. And maybe find more about this dragon trade. We go to Fred. As Fred calls over to Viggo. He's currently on a ship sailing to Japan. Yes? Hey, Viggo. That letter that was sent to that auction. Why did you write that? Don't worry. Even if if anyone bought the letter, they would have to decode it first to find out the meeting point. Wait, you were actually kidding? You were actually going to meet with somebody if someone got that letter? What if a hero got it? That's why you were there, weren't you? I was outside the building. I looked through everything they had. The heroes did not make it out with the letter. Someone else got to it. I saw them jump out of the building from the auctioneer's storage house, in the back of the building. I wanted to chase after him, but then I noticed the letter in his hand. And he didn't look like a hero, so I let him go. Good, thank you, Fred. Now return back to the port. The heroes might be trying to do an investigation on us. But they will have to wait until after the UA entrance exams, which will have us enough time to clean up our little mishap that happened at the docks the other day. I trust you'll have it cleaned up before my arrival. I'll be on it. What about Julie? Julie is currently selling some valuable Gronkel iron steel in Germany. She is doing her part quite well. Alright, I'll have it cleaned up. Although I really wish those heroes would have tried to, try to search around the areas so I could just beat one of them up. Now, we can't give them a reason to arrest you. Even if you're looking for a good fight, we have plenty of people back at where you can fight. We have plenty of candidates who want to try to raise their rank and get more pay. You stopped hiring villains half a year ago. May I know why? If you must know, a few villains tried to sneak out information about our secrets, so I had them eliminated. I stopped hiring villains and focused on our hunting and the hunters around the world that enjoy massive and good hunts. They're trustworthy people. Most of them are, anyway. Alright, what about... we have enough cages. What type of deal are you trying to pull here? Fred, I don't know what you mean. You've never sent a letter to Japan. You despise this place. Yes, I do despise Japan with a passion, but the amount of profit it has given me gives me a reason to return. So let's go meet our, potential customer. One more thing, Viggo. One of our people inside the auction got captured by the heroes. They're detaining him and the other auctioneer and everyone else that was in the auction. They can't arrest a few of the people as they're business people. They were just there to buy his stuff. They believe they didn't know anything about this selling of illegal stuff here. But they're being detained. I decided I wanted to tell you because what if he spills something? He won't spill a dime. You know why, Fred? Why? Because he won't spill anything. After all, the person that was sent to that auction you did tell me was one of your finest. And he wouldn't spill anything if he was even tortured about it, correct? He's loyal, but the heroes will try anything to give up information. You worry too much. Have more faith in people that are more loyal than they look. As he would hang up, as Viggo would walk to a board where a man with blue hair is currently on a picture. It looks like your little dog, all for one, decided to take an interest in my business. As Viggo has done research on every villain in Japan, especially those that are hidden underground that could be a threat to his business. Of course, if they don't do anything, Viggo doesn't do anything either. But he makes sure to catalyze every threat that could happen to his business. And one of the top threats is All for One. But he's also labeled as possibly a customer. And the heroes are labeled as enemies, because they are trying to shut down the dragon trade. We then go to a detective that leaves an interrogation room. As he goes to talk with the heroes that brought him in, being Shoto and Present Mike. Eraserhead. Did you find anything? Well, he is part of the dragon trade, but it seems like he was there for business. He was just dropping off the materials. Everything here is legal. We can't detain the fellow. He's refused to tell us anything about his boss. He's demanded a lawyer. He's not giving up anything. The only thing he said is that they have a port where they are using for the time being. That's the only place he gave us. Stuff where they transport supplies back and forth to sell. It's all legal. The paperwork's there. We gotta release the guy. As Shoto says, we need to interrogate him more. He's obviously holding on to... As the detective says, we can only keep him here for a certain amount of time. If we keep him here any longer, the public's going to be on us. He has technically not done anything illegal. And him keeping him here over the hours we're supposed to for interrogations of people at the auction, especially when they don't have anything to do with the auctioneers and the villains we found at the auction house, would ruin the reputation of the police. We can only keep him here as the designated time. If you can find anything about the dragon trade within an hour from the interrogation from now, we gotta let him go. As Eraserhead dies. Still nothing. Well, whoever runs the dragon trade is doing very well. We still have no idea where he gets all these items. As he's looking at the Zibbleback skin that was at the auction. This is definitely lizard skin of some sort. Send this to Nezu, see if he can analyze it. I don't trust this dragon trade. As he looks at the man inside the interrogation room. As he just looks at the one-way glass. As then he just looks down as he just places his head down to fall asleep. Like he knows and he's not going to tell Shoto or anyone anything else. Shoto tried to interrogate him for an hour. He did not say a thing. As a few days would pass, and Viggo would be waiting in a building, with some hunters nearby. In and outside, the building is fully secure. As a person would open the door, and he would have blue hair and a hand over his face. Ah, well, if it isn't Shigaraki. As he's taken aback, how do you know my name? It's quite simple, obviously. I've kept your tabs on your little group you're putting together, the League of Villains. You've hired a lot of thugs. Why did you come to me? As he looks at Shigaraki. As he pulls out the letter. I'm surprised you managed to decipher it. I assume you had some help. As Shigaraki just sits down. I want you to join the League of Villains. As Viggo just smiles. Me? No. If anything, I prefer not to be here more than I have to. I'm only here because I writ that letter, and I keep my word. So, I will have to decline your offer. As Shigaraki gets up and touches the cup on the table as it would disintegrate. A disintegration quark. Interesting. As he did that, several people with bows and arrows would start pointing their arrows at him. You have to realize you're out well manned here. Especially your little bit of men outside stood no chance. As then Fred would walk in while basically dragging two people that Shigaraki brought along and just tosses them forward. You really should try to teach your men how to fight better. As he turns around and starts to walk away, I would like to buy something. As Viggo turns around, and what is it that you want? Where do you manufacture the Gronkle iron and all the material you sell? That information is not for sale. It's somewhere where no one can go, right? As Viggo immediately turns around. I assume your master told you. The one place where not even he dares to go. The Cursed Sea. It seems like your master is smarter than I thought. But he doesn't know how to enter the Cursed Sea. And none of my men will give up that information. And neither will I. So I suggest you crawl back to your master and tell him unless he wants to buy materials from me, that this deal and meeting was pointless. As Shigaraki just hits the table. Those materials could be used for certain projects. I assume you're talking about those Nomus your doctor cooks up. As Viggo knows about All for One's doctor, because his information network is very high. And, of course, you want to use the cells of whatever the animals I harvest for the materials to try to replicate them. But since they're, well, dead when arrival, you don't have the means to replicate or even use it. What do you think these creatures are? I think you found a place where there were quarked animals. It's the only thing that could be alive in that cursed sea. You really are an idiot. As Shigaraki would get mad and rush towards Viggo, as he would step to the side before giving a right hook to Shigaraki's face, sending him on the floor. as someone releases an arrow and hits Shigaraki in the shoulder. Easy now, we are not going to kill the fool. We'll have him send a message to his master. As he smiles, as he would leave after wiping some blood off his hand. Was it wise to mark the boy? As he pulls out a small stamp that's still on fire. A dragon hunter symbol on the boy's back. All for one will be mad, but he just ruined any potential partnership and business opportunity. And he won't try anything after all. He does use some of my materials, and it would be a shame, a real shame, if those materials went missing, and I stopped selling to Japan altogether. It would take him far too long to get too many materials he needs for his projects, delaying his whatever schemes he's planning. What about the heroes? What about them? They did search the docks like you said. You had everything cleaned up in time? Of course. They only found our usual selling equipment. Good. I assume they found some of the dragon scales. One hero tried to make off with a box. But since we have our own security and we caught him in surveillance footage from the port dock, we won the case in court. After all, you did buy the best lawyer. Of course, with all the money I make from this trade, it is quite, lucrative. As Viggo walks off back to his ship. So where are you going? I'm heading back to the Cursed Sea. I still have some unfinished business and some more captains to be straightened in line. Currently I left Gear in charge, but there are still a few fools in the Cursed Sea that I don't trust. I won't be there for long, hopefully. I'll be back even if anything arises. I trust you to keep this side of the trade ready in case anything happens. What about my dragon? Yes. What did you name that dragon? Lightning. Yes, don't worry. If need be, Lightning will be transported here to Japan. Now I must be going. I've got plenty of more business meetings to do, and a lot more dragon hide to sell. And Gronkle iron, as well as Zibbleback gas, and all the materials that comes from the dragon trade. As he would depart, as we would see the flag set sail, as the wind would blow as they would just start leaving the port. We now go to the next day as Izumi and her friends would go into UA for the entrance exam. And that is the end of Part 5, The Heroes Discovered About the Dragon Trade.